على حب الحسن والحسين الثانية.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
على حب فاطمة الزهراء الثالثة بأعلى أصواتكم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته المنتجبين. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله، صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا ابن رسول الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة، ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة، يا مظلوم يا غريب يا شهيد كربلاء، يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. أروحك أم روح النبوة تصعد من الأرض للفردوس والحور سجدوا. أروحك أم روح النبوة تصعد من الأرض للفردوس والحور سجدوا. أرأسك أم رأس الرسول على القناة بآية أهل الكهف راح يرددون. أصدرك أم مستودع العلم والحجاب لتحطيمه جيش من الظلم يعمدون. وشاركت الأرض السماء بشجوها، فواحدة تبكي وأخرى تعدد وقد نصب الوحي العزاء ببيته عليك حدادا والمعزى يا محمد، فأي شهيد أصلت الشمس جسمه، فأي شهيد أصلت الشمس جسمه، ومشهدها من أصله متولده، وأي ذبيح داست الخيل صدره، وفرسانها من ذكره تتجمد، فلو علم تلك الخيول كأهلها بأن الذي تحت سنابك أحمد، لثارت على فرسانها وتمردت عليهم كما ثاروا بها وتمردوا. هل نحيا زهرة على منه تنوحي. It's the first night of Muharram. I want you to raise your voices. Do not be shy and do not be embarrassed. هل نحيا زهرة على منه تنوحي، نحج على المسموم، نحج على حسين، حنت ونادت والدمع بالخد بادي، انت تسألوني يا خلق كلهم اولادي، لكن صواب حسين ساطي في فؤادي، واعظم مصايبنا علينا مصيبة حسين، دهري رماني بالرزايا بكل غالي، وشتت ولادي عن يميني وعن شمالي، ما اشوف ساعة من الحزن مرتاح بالي، واعظم علي لون الناعي على ابكي على اولادي، ذبايح يوم عاشور ولا انصبت لهم عزية بوسط القبور، ولا نسيت ضلع اللي بستر الباب مكسور، واعظم علي مصاب محزوز الوريدين. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر وما بدلوا تبديلا. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. A second for the love of Imams Al-Hassan wal-Hussein. A third salawat with your loudest voices for the love of Fatima al-Zahra. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بسيدنا ومولانا أبي عبد الله الحسين عليه أفضل الصلاة والسلام. When we talk about Imam Hussein, we usually highlight the tragedy of Ashura and the tragedy of Karbala. And of course, that is probably the most important event in the life of Imam Hussein. And that is why we put the spotlight on that event. However, Imam Hussein's life is a legacy. It's full of events. It's full of stories. It's full of wisdom. And it's full of jihad. Tonight, I'd like to address some of the unaddressed aspects of the life of Imam Hussein, starting from the day he was born up until Ashura. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, according to historians, was born on the 3rd of Sha'ban, the year 4 after Hijrah. He was born in the city of Medina. And he's the second to his mother and father. He was preceded by his brother Al-Imam Al-Hassan Al-Mujtaba alayhi salam. On the day of his birth, Rasulullah came to the house of Fatima al-Zahra and Amir al-Mu'mineen to see his newborn grandson. Fatima al-Zahra had a servant by the name of Asma bint Umays. He said, Ya Asma, nawilini waladi. Asma brought the 1-day-old child to Rasulullah. Rasulullah held him. He said the adhan in his right ear and the iqamah in his left ear. And this became a tradition that every newborn child, the first words that he should hear are the words of Allahu Akbar. And then Asma saw something that she did not expect. She saw Rasulullah weeping. She saw Rasulullah crying. She said, Fidaka abi wa ummi. May my mother and father be a sacrifice for you. Mimma buka'ak ya Rasulullah. Why are you crying? He said, Ya Asma, لأجل ولدي هذا تقتله الفئة الباغية من أمتي لا أنالهم الله شفاعتي. Ya Asma, my tears are for my grandson, this grandson. Because a rebellious group from my nation shall kill him, expecting my intercession. May Allah not grant them my intercession. And then he told Asma, Ya Asma, don't tell Fatima al-Zahra. This is a happy day for her. Don't ruin it for her. And don't tell her the news that I gave you. Rasulullah then asks Amir al-Mu'mineen, he tells him, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ya Ali, what have you named him? He said, Ya Rasulullah, I would never beat you to it. I would never name him before you. I want you to name him. And Rasulullah said, I will never name him before my Lord. Let's have Allah name him. Jibreel came down He said, Ya Rasulullah, inna al-aliyu al-a'la yuqru'uka as-salam wa yaqul sammi waladaka hadha bismi waladi Harun. Name your son after the son of Harun. Why Harun? Because this is the son of Ali, and that is the son of Harun. Amir al-Mu'mineen has the most similarities out of all of the prophets, 124,000 prophets. The prophet that he is most similar to is Harun, the brother of Musa. And one day when Rasulullah and his companions left for the battle of Tabuk, when they left for the battle of Tabuk, Amir al-Mu'mineen stayed in Medina by the command of Rasulullah. He asked him to remain in Medina to look over the women and children and to remain as his successor in Medina. Some companions that were jealous of Amir al-Mu'mineen, they came and laughed at Amir al-Mu'mineen. They told him, Ya Ali, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Rasulullah is keeping you with the women and children because he's afraid of taking you to the battle with him. He's afraid you'll goof up. So he's keeping you with the kids and the women. Amir al-Mu'mineen began weeping. He came to Rasulullah. He said, Ya Rasulullah, is this true? You don't want me to be a part of the battle? Are you keeping me in Medina on purpose? You don't want me? He said, yeah, I am keeping you in Medina on purpose, but not because I don't need you. In fact, if there's anyone that I need, it would be you, Ya Ali. But I'm keeping you as my successor. And then he said this, أَمَا تَرْضَى أَن تَكُونْ مِنِّي بِمَنْزِلَةِ هَارُونَ مِنْ مُوسَى إِلَّا أَنَّهُ لَا نَبِيَّ مِنْ بَعْدِي. Don't you want to be to me like Aaron was to Musa? What was Aaron to Musa? His successor. His successor. Except that Harun, Aaron, was a prophet, Ali is not a prophet. إِلَّا أَنَّهُ لَا نَبِيَّ بَعْدِي. Thus, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Jibreel tells Rasulullah, name your son after the son of Harun. Harun had two children, Shabir and Shubbar. Jibreel said, well, what is it in Arabic? He said, Hassan wa Hussein. He named his first son Hassan and the second one Hussein. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A second salawat for the love of Imam Hassan and Hussein. A third salawat for the love of Fatima al-Zahra sallallahu alayhi wa. Thus, he named him Hussein, and this name came directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On the 7th day after his birth, Rasulullah slaughters 2 sheep, and this is called aqiqah. And this became a tradition that when a newborn child comes to life, a week after his birth, you slaughter 2 sheep, and you invite people. Doesn't have to be the poor. Of course, it's recommended to bring the poor, but you invite your family, your friends, your brothers, your sisters. However, it is makruh, discouraged, that the parents and the grandparents of that child to eat from the aqiqah. Everyone else eats. And it has certain conditions. That sheep should be 6 months old. When you cook it, don't break the bones. Anyway, you can refer to any Islamic law book and you'll see the directions. Rasulullah slaughtered 2 sheep, aqiqah for Imam Hussein. And he shaved the head of Imam Hussein on the 7th day. He weighed the hair. I don't know exactly how much the hair weighed. And according to that weight, he donated gold to the poor. And this is for the salama, for the security of the newborn baby. Imam al-Hussein, like his older brother Imam al-Hassan, were raised by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah himself raised them. He made sure that they grow up the way he wants. That is why they learn from his akhlaq and from his manners. And how are the manners of Rasulullah? The Quran says, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Allah, who is the greatest, characterizes the akhlaq of Rasulullah by saying, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Allah is impressed by the akhlaq of Rasulullah. Al-Hasan al-Hussein, they learn from the akhlaq of Rasulullah. One day, they go to the masjid, they see an old man performing his wudu, but he's doing it in a wrong manner. He doesn't know how to do his wudu. But Al-Hasan al-Hussein were only 6 or 7. How are 2 kids at the age of 6 and 7 going to teach an old man how to do his wudu? They're going to tell him, listen, mister, this is how you do your wudu. He's not going to accept it. So they thought of a plan. They came to him, they said, Ya Am, can you be the judge? Me and my brother, Imam Hassan told him, me and my brother are going to do our wudu in front of you. You be the judge to tell us who does his wudu in a correct way. He said, okay. They did their wudu in front of him and they did it exactly the same way. The old man got the hint. He started smiling. He said, my sons, you do your wudu better than your uncle. And he learned his wudu this way. Isn't this a beautiful way? Such respect, such effectiveness. This is the effectiveness of the Quran, the way the Quran says. If you want to be effective, if you want to get your point across, if you want to teach someone, do it like the Quran says. ادعو إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة حسنة. You do it with akhlaq, with manners, not with an attitude. If you have a message, if you have an ideology that you like to get across to someone, you don't have to do it in a harsh way. You don't need to yell and scream and shout. You don't need to be abusive and aggressive. Unfortunately, there are some Muslims today, they feel that the only way they could get their point across is through violence, is through abuse. It's either their way or the highway. You go to certain places, certain cemeteries, you take a book out, and it's not allowed. It's a violation. It's the year 2011. Books are everywhere, but in a specific country, books are not allowed. And it's the reason why that country is one of the most backward and behind countries in the world. Because you're not even allowed to hold a book to recite from. And if you do such a thing, it becomes an atrocity. One of our dear friends that everyone knows was taken this year in the Baqi' for reciting a ziyarah. For reciting a ziyarah, he was put in prison. He had to spend the night in prison. And the next day they released him. After a couple of days when we saw him in Mecca, his hands were bruised. Is this what the Quran says? The Quran says, ادعو إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة حسنة. The Quran doesn't say yell in the face of everyone that disagrees with you, call him mushrik, call him whatever you'd like. Anyhow, صلى على محمد وعلى محمد. As for the position that Imam Hussein had to his grandfather, not just Imam Hussein, him and his brother Imam al-Hassan, Rasulullah was quoted saying, Al-Hassan wal-Hussein rayhanataya min ad-dunya. Al-Hassan wal-Hussein are my ornaments in this life. Al-Hassan wal-Hussein sayyida shababi ahli al-Jannah. Al-Hassan wal-Hussein are the masters of the youth of paradise. Al-Hassan wal-Hussein imaman qama aw qa'ada. Al-Hassan wal-Hussein are 2 imams. Whether they rise to power, whether they claim the power or they don't, they are 2 legitimate imams. And as for specifically Imam Hussein, Rasulullah said his famous quote, Husaynun minni wa ana min Husayn. Ahabba Allah man ahabba Husayna. Hussein is from me, and I am from Hussein. It's as if Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam can look 50 years ahead, 60 years ahead. He's giving a message across that this Hussein is from me. Whatever he says, it's as if I'm saying it. Any position that he takes, it's as if I'm taking it. I'm taking it. If he raises his sword, it's as if I'm raising my sword. Husaynun minni wa ana min Husayn. One day Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi passes by the house of Fatima al-Zahra and he hears Imam Hussein crying. He knocks at the door of Fatima and he says, Ya Fatima, quiet him. Get him to stop crying. أما تعلمين أن بكاءه يؤذيني? Ya Fatima, get him to quiet down. Don't you know that his crying hurts me? His crying hurts me. Imam Hussein was a baby, yet his cries would hurt Rasulullah. Where was Rasulullah on the day of Ashura to see Imam Hussein? لو رسول الله يحيى بعده قعد اليوم عليه بالعزم. يا رسول الله لو عاينتهم وهم ما بين قتل وسبا لرأت عيناك منهم منظرا للحشا شجوا وللعين قذر. The verses of Sharif al-Rawi. His cries would hurt his heart. One day Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was in the masjid, was praying jama'ah, his sujood. You all know the story. He prolonged his sujood. When he finished, his sahaba came to him. He told him, Ya Rasulullah, anaseed? Did you forget? As-sahut? Anazal alayka al-wahi? Perhaps you received the revelation. He said, no, none of the above. My grandson Hussein was on my back. I didn't want to remove him. I didn't want to hurt him. I didn't want to bother him. I kept him on my back. And I prolonged my sujood. Historians say that Rasulullah, when he would play with Imam Hussein, he would turn into a child. He would make childish noises and voices. He would turn his voice into a baby voice. Some of the Sahaba would be surprised. Rasulullah, whom they had an immense respect for, all of a sudden when he would see Imam Hussein, they would see the emotional side of Rasulullah. He would chase after him, he would play with him, he would carry him on his back. Abu Hurairah says that time and time again I would see Rasulullah embrace the lips of Imam Hussein and his neck. I would see Rasulullah embrace the neck of Imam Hussein. Ubay ibn Ka'b says that one day we were in the masjid and Al-Hussein ibn Ali came inside the masjid. He was only 3 years old. Rasulullah greets him. But how does he greet him? He tells him, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Imam Hussein is 3 years old. You would expect him to say, Hussein, anything else? He says, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya zinat as-samawati wal-aradeen. Peace be upon you, O ornament of the skies and the earth. Obey. He says, Ya Rasulullah, alasta anta zinat as-samawati wal-aradeen? Aren't you the ornament of the earth and the skies? He said, Ya Ubay, حينما أسري بي إلى السماء, when I ascended to the sky, when I reached a position in which Jibreel could not accompany me, ثم دنا فتدلى فكان قاب قوسين أو أدنى, he reached a position in which Jibreel tells him, Ya Rasulullah, I can't pass. لو دنوت أنملة لاحترقت. I can't pass. There's a red line. I can't pass. You have to go alone. Rasulullah passes until he reaches the throne of Allah. Allah has a throne, Al-Arsh. Rasulullah tells Ubay, فَرَأَيْتُ مَكْتُوبًا عَلَى يَمِينِ الْعَرْشِ إِنَّ الْحُسَيْنَ مِصْبَاحَ الْهُدَى وَسَفِينَةُ النَّجَاةِ. صلى على محمد. I saw written on the right of the throne, on the throne of Allah, that Hussein, إن الحسين مصباح الهدى. Hussein is a lantern of guidance. How many people have been guided by Imam Hussein? How many people, their lives have been changed because of Imam Hussein? Perhaps some of you. Some of you have witnessed a change in your lives because of the Majlis of Imam Hussein. This is why this Majlis is so special, it's so sacred. That is why when you leave your homes and you come to this Majlis, Say, I come to this majlis qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala. Seek nearness to Allah. This is a special majlis. And any place that holds a majlis for Imam Hussein becomes a sacred place and a holy place. Because these are a majalis for guidance. Just the name of Imam Hussein is a name of guidance. How many people have been guided because of Imam Hussein? أن الحسين مصباح الهدى وسفينة النجاة. And he's a ship of rescue. One day Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam comes back home. He's tired. He tells his wife Salama, don't allow anyone to enter. I'm tired. He goes inside. Salama says, all of a sudden, Hussein walks in and he runs into his grandfather's room. I couldn't stop it. I tried to stop him, I couldn't. She said, he went into the room, but I didn't go because I was afraid Rasulullah would yell at me. She said, I didn't go into the room. A few minutes later, I went in, I saw Imam Hussein seated on the chest of Rasulullah. Rasulullah was holding him, embracing him, and there was something in the hand of Rasulullah. I told him, what is that, Ya Rasulullah? He said, Jibreel just came down and he informed me that my grandson Hussein shall be martyred in a land called Karbala, and he just brought me some of the sand of Karbala. Ya Salama, put this in a jar, in a qarura. Put this in a jar. One day you will see that this sand will turn into blood. Know that that day my grandson has been martyred. The days passed. Imam Hussein was about to leave Medina. Inshallah we'll address this as we finish our majlis tonight. Imam Hussein was about to leave Medina. He says his farewell to Salama. Salama tells Imam Hussein about the story that Rasulullah gave me some of the sand of that land. Imam Hussein, he was alone with Salama. With a miracle, he takes, in 1 second, he takes Salama to Karbala. He holds some of the sand of Karbala and he gives it to Salama. He says, Ya Salama, add this to the sand that Rasulullah gave you. And notice, if it turns into blood, know that I've been martyred. And this was known as Hadith al-Qarura, that some Sunni sources have mentioned this hadith. When Rasulullah was on his deathbed, Imam Hussein alayhi salam comes to him to say his farewell. Rasulullah embraces him and he says, Mali wali Yazid. Imam Hussein was 4 years old. He was 3 or 4 years old at this time. Ya Rasulullah mentions Yazid. Mali wali Yazid. La barakallahu fihi. And then he says, Amma inna li wa liqatilika mawqifan bayna yaday Allah azza wa jalla. He says, what does Yazid have against me? May Allah not bless him. And he says, me and your killer will stand in front of Allah and I know how to address your killer, Ya Hussein. Rasulullah passes away. Fatima al-Zahra passes away. One day, 5-year-old Imam Hussein comes inside the masjid, or maybe he was 6 or 7. He comes inside the masjid and he sees Umar ibn al-Khattab sitting on the minbar of Rasulullah. Because as you know, after the death of Rasulullah, Abu Bakr came to power for only how many years? 2 years. 2 years. All this fuss just to live for 2 years on this fuss. Was it worth it? After him comes Umar ibn al-Khattab. Umar ibn al-Khattab was sitting in the masjid on the minbar of Rasulullah. Imam Hussein comes inside the masjid. He was only 6 or 7. He goes to Umar and he says, Inzil min ala minbari abi wadhab ila minbari abik. Come down from my father's minbar and go to your own father's minbar. Umar was embarrassed. I mean, this is a child. What is he going to tell a child? He says, Sadaqt, lam yakun li abi minbar. You're right, my father does not have a minbar. And then he grabbed Imam Hussein and he seated him next to him on the minbar. And then he told him, Man allamaka hada? Who taught you this? Who taught you how to say this? Imam Hussein says, Wallah lam yu'allimni ahad. By God, no one taught me. What, do you think I'm a fool? The children of Ahlul Bayt, you see them as children, but they're scholars. And this is what Yazid told that man from Sham the day that the caravan of Imam Hussein went to Sham, when Imam Zayn al-Abidin wanted to stand on the minbar and speak, Yazid did not give him a permission. People told him, give him permission, he's only a youth. What are you afraid of? He said, no. إن هؤلاء أهل بيت قد زقوا العلم زقا. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Imam Hussein looks like a child, but he's a scholar. As for his qualities, we rarely address these qualities. Imam Hussein alayhi salam was known for his akhlaq. He was known for his manners. One day, his servant brings him flowers. She greets him with flowers. He frees her. He sets her free. Someone asked him, why did you set her free? All she did was bring you flowers. He said, yes, but the Quran says, وَإِذَا حُيِّيتُم بِتَحِيَّةٍ فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنٍ أَوْ رُدُّوهَا. If you are greeted with a greeting, either give a better greeting or return the greeting. And I saw that the better greeting is to set her free. Usama bin Zayd, the famous Sahabi, was an enemy of the Ahlul Bayt, was an enemy of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Yet, towards the end of his life, when he was drowned in death, Imam Hussein alayhi salam goes to his house, goes to his father's enemy. He visits him, he says his salams, and he asks him, how much is your debt? I'll pay it off. I'll pay off your debt. This was the akhlaq of Imam Hussein. One day a man comes to Medina, a poor man comes to Medina, and he says, where should I go? He asks the people of Medina, where should I go? Who is a generous person in this city? They tell him to go to the house of Al-Hussein ibn Ali. He goes to the house of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He knocks at the door and he recites the following verses. He says, لم يخب الآن من رجاك ومن لم يخب الآن من رجاك حرك من دون بابك الحلقة فأنت جواد وأنت معتمد أبوك قد كان قاتل الفسقة. Imam Hussein realizes that this is a beggar at his door. He goes inside, he asks his wife Rabab, he says, how much do we own? She said, Yabna Rasulullah, we have 200 dirhams. This is all we own. He said, give it to me. He takes the 2 dirhams without showing his face out of embarrassment. Imam Hussein gives all that he owns to this beggar and he's still embarrassed. He doesn't show his face. He extends his hand from behind the door. He gives him the money and he recites other verses of poetry with the same qafiyah, with the same ending. He says, خُذْهَا فَإِنِّي إِلَيْكَ مُعْتَذِرٌ وَاعْلَمْ بِأَنِّي عَلَيْكَ ذُو شَفَقَةٍ لو كان في سيرنا الغداة عصا أمست سمانا عليك مندفقة لكن ريب الزمان ذو غير والكف مني قليلة النفقة. The Imam tells him to take what he gives him and to forgive him for this shortcoming. To forgive this shortcoming. صلى على محمد. Another story has been mentioned to show the akhlaq of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. This story, just as an introduction, the following story that I'm about to mention, that I've mentioned to you before 3 years ago, in 2008, for those that were there, you will probably remember. This story has not been mentioned in Shia sources. Shia sources do not mention the following story. It has been mentioned in Sunni sources. However, we'll mention it because scholars, speakers mention it, and it's full of wisdom, and it shows the akhlaq of Imam Hussein. وصلى على محمد وعلى محمد. The narration says that Yazid ibn Muawiyah was in love with a woman by the name of Urayna bint Ishaq. He was in love with her. Subhanallah. As soon as people hear the word love, you get everyone's attention. There's a few words, they're attention seekers. Love is one of them. The problem with Uraynab was that she was married. She has a husband. And her husband, his name is Usama. Yazid was crazy about this woman. He wanted to marry her. News reaches Muawiyah that his son Yazid is in love with this married lady. And he is going crazy and he won't settle unless he has her. Muawiyah decides to get this lady from Yazid. Now Muawiyah, as everyone knows, was Dahiyatul Arab. He was known for his deceitful ways. He was known for his trickery. He was known for his manipulations. He sends a message to Usama that I'd like to see you. Usama comes. Usama was in Kufa. Muawiyah and Yazid are in Sham. They're in Damascus. Tells him, yeah, Usama, I have an offer for you. The offer is that I make you the governor of Kufa and I give you my daughter to marry. My daughter Hind, she becomes your wife. Well, who wouldn't accept this offer? A job and a wife. He agreed immediately. He said, okay. He said, but there's one problem. You're married. And I refuse for my daughter to be a second wife. So what I ask is that you divorce your first wife and I give you my daughter. Well, the problem with this is that Uraynab was known for her beauty. They say that she was extremely beautiful. So he had to think about this. Lose his first wife, but at the same time, he becomes a governor and he gets another wife. And who? The daughter of an emperor like Muawiyah. He said, okay. Okay, I'll divorce my wife. He goes back to Kufa and he divorces his wife, Uraynab. As soon as he divorces her, of course there's a waiting period, Idda. Muawiyah sends Abu Hurairah to propose to Uraynab on behalf of whom? Yazid. To propose to her and tell her that her dowry, the offered dowry is 1,000 dinars. Abu Hurairah said so. On his way to Kufa, he passes by Medina. And he meets Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Imam Hussein tells him, Abu Hurairah, where are you going? Told him, I'm on a mission. Where are you going? He said, I'm going to Kufa to propose to Uraynab bint Ishaq on behalf of Yazid. Imam Hussein knew this story. They told him, how much is Yazid offering her for a dowry? He said, 1,000 dinars. He said, okay. You go to Uraynab and you propose on behalf of Yazid. But what you also do is tell her that there's someone else that's also proposing to you. And that is Al-Hussein ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib. And tell her that he also offers you 1,000 dinars. Abu Hurairah goes. He sets out to Kufa. He arrives to the house of Uraynab bint Ishaq. He knocks at the door. She greets him. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum assalam. He says, listen, 3 people are proposing to you. 3. Who are they? He said, Yazid ibn Muawiyah, Al-Hussein ibn Ali, and yours truly, Abu Hurairah. She told him, okay. What are they offering? Oh, and he said, Yazid is offering you 1,000 dinars. And Hussein ibn Ali is also offering you 1,000 dinars. And I really don't know what he was going to offer because he's pretty much broke. So I'm pretty sure he told her he's broke. She said, okay. What do you advise me? You're an older man. You're an old man actually. What do you advise me? The hadith says that he said, I'll give you an advice. If you want dunya, if you want the pleasure of this life, but no akhirah, in aradti dunya bila akhirah, choose Yazid. Yazid will give you all the pleasures of this life, but don't count on the akhirah. And if you want both dunya and akhirah, not just akhirah, with the Ahlul Bayt you have both akhirah and dunya, choose Al-Hussein ibn Ali. And historians say that he said, if you don't want neither dunya nor akhirah, then choose one. Well, it doesn't take a genius to make the decision. She chose Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Imam Hussein goes to Kufa and he marries her. He goes into her house, yet Imam Hussein kept his distance. Why? Imam Hussein had a reason. Imam Hussein kept his distance from Uraynab. A few days later, Usama goes to Muawiyah. He told him, I divorced my wife. Now where's the governorship and where's my wife, your daughter? Muawiyah said, yeah, about that, I'm having second thoughts. Why? He said, because all I had to do was offer you a job and you were willing to divorce your wife for my own daughter. I offered you my daughter and a job, you divorce your wife. Who said tomorrow someone else will, after you marry my daughter, someone else will come and offer you a better job with a better wife, will divorce my daughter? How can I trust you? The hadith says, Man khana laka, khana alayk. He who deceives others for you will deceive you one day. He refused. Usama lost everything. He lost the job, he lost his wife, and he lost Muawiyah's wife, even though he didn't have her in the first place. He comes back to Kufa. One day he comes to the house of Uraynab. He heard that Imam Hussein had married her. He had forgotten something or kept something at her house. He came to pick it up. He came, knocked at the door. Imam Hussein opens the door. No, I'm sorry. Uraynab opens the door. And he asks for whatever he had left inside the house. Imam Hussein notices that the way he looked at her, the way she looked at him, they still had feelings for each other. He comes inside, he takes whatever he wants. At the door, he stops him. Tells him, listen, you made a big mistake by divorcing your wife. You made a big mistake because you were fooled by Muawiyah. And I can see that you're regretful. And by God, the only reason why I married Uraynab was so that I divorce her today and that you two get back together. Imam Hussein divorced her and they got back together the same day because there was no waiting period, there was no idda. Imam Hussein had kept his distance. He tells them the only reason why I did this was to have you get back together, and they got back together. Now, why did she forgive him? I have no clue. Among the incidents that show the akhlaq of Imam Hussein alayhi salam was when the army of Al-Hurr stopped the Imam on their way to Kufa. I'm sorry, on their way to Karbala. On their way to Kufa, but Imam Hussein comes to Karbala. The army of Hurr stops Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein was going towards the direction of Kufa. But because Al-Hurr stops him and the army of Hurr stopped him, Imam Hussein ended up in Karbala. This same army that stopped him, they didn't have water. Imam Hussein had water. Imam Hussein's army, they had water. When Imam Hussein sees the army of Hurr thirsty, not only themselves, but their horses, Imam Hussein gives them water. He himself gives the army that stopped him from going to Kufa, he gives them water. Not just them, but their horses as well. Some historians say that if Imam Hussein did not give that water, perhaps some of it would have remained on the day of Ashura. 3 days prior to Ashura, the water had stopped. The water had ended. They had remained thirsty for 3 days. Perhaps some of the water would have remained. But no. The akhlaq of Imam Hussein tells him to give water to his own enemies, to a person that probably led to his demise and led to the tragedy of Karbala. As for the spiritual aspect of Imam Hussein was extremely spiritual. Imam Hussein had a very special relationship with Allah. Imam Hussein walked on his foot 25 times from Medina to Mecca to perform his pilgrimage. Imam Hussein didn't own camels, didn't own horses. In fact, when him and his brother Imam Hassan would walk to Mecca, their camels would ride with them, would go with them, yet they would walk. Some say they would walk barefoot, without wearing sandals, without wearing shoes. They would walk. And this was a tradition amongst the Ahlul Bayt, to walk to Mecca, to walk to Hajj. One narrator says that I was headed to Mecca with a caravan. I was in the middle of the desert. I left my caravan to walk, or to ride on my own. All of a sudden I saw a 7-year-old boy, waladun suba'i, meaning he's probably 7 years old, walking in the middle of the desert. He said, I was astonished at this sight. I went and I told him, my son, where are you going? Where are you headed? أين مقصدك وأين زادك وأين راحلتك? Where is your means of transportation? What are you carrying with you? And what is your destination? He said, this 7-year-old child looked at me and he said, راحلتي رجلاي وزادي تقواي ومقصدي مولاي. My means of transportation are my feet. What I'm carrying with me is my piety, and my destination is my master. He told him, my son, who are you? Which family are you from? He said, from Quraysh, Qurashi. قلت له زدني قال هاشمي. قلت له زدني قال علوي فاطمي. He said, I'm from Quraysh. He said, where from Quraysh? He said, from Bani Hashim. Where from Bani Hashim? He said, from the children of Ali and Fatima. He said, I left him in the middle of the desert walking towards Mecca. I came back to my caravan. I told him that there's a child, a 7-year-old child, walking in the desert, walking to Mecca. Does anyone know who he is? He told him, yes, this is Ali ibn al-Hussein, Zainul Abidin. Thus, it was a tradition among the Ahlul Bayt to walk to Mecca. Imam Hussein had an immense relationship with Allah. And this relationship is manifested in Dua Arafah. Dua Arafah, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا دُعَاء Arafah. This beautiful supplication. This beautiful dua that is recited on the day of Arafah. The Hujjaj and everywhere, people everywhere recite this beautiful dua, the dua of Arafah. An immense dua. In my humble opinion, all of the du'as of Ahlul Bayt are beautiful. All of them. Dua Abu Hamza, Dua Kumayl, Dua Al-Sabah, Al-Munajat Al-15. All of the supplications of Ahlul Bayt are beautiful. Yet in my humble opinion, Dua Arafah is something else. Dua Arafah is an amazing dua. It was recited 1 year before the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. On the day of Arafah, 1 year before Ashura, at the time of noon, Imam Hussein alayhi salam leaves. The hadith narrated by Bishr wa Bashir that Imam Hussein left his tent at noon or afternoon. He headed towards Mount Arafah. He stood on the left side of the mountain along with his family members and his companions. He raised his hand, كَاسْتِطْعَامِ الْمِسْكِينَ, the hadith says. As if a beggar is begging for food. He had his hands extended in front of his face, and he began to recite that extraordinary dua. Alhamdulillah alladhi laysa liqada'ihi dafi' wala li'ata'ihi mani' wala kusun'ihi sun'u sani'. And he begins this beautiful dua. And I'd like to recite just some sections from this dua. Ilahi, 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 أنا الفقير في غناي فكيف لا أكون فقيرا في فقري إلهي أنا الجاهل في علمي فكيف لا أكون جهولا في جهلي إلهي كلما أخرسني لؤمي أنطقني كرمك وكلما آيستني أوصافي أطمعتني من نورك إلهي من كانت محاسنه مساوي فكيف لا تكون مساويه مساوي ومن كانت حقائقه دعاوي دعاوي فكيف لا تكون دعاويه دعاوي. He says, my Lord, when I am rich, I am still poor. When I am independent, I am still dependent on you, my Lord. So how is it that I cannot be poor when I'm poor? When I'm rich, I'm still poor. I'm still poor to you, O Allah. I'm in need of you, O Allah. I'm dependent on you when I think that I'm rich. When I think that I'm independent, yet I'm still dependent on you. So how about when I'm already dependent on you? And when I'm knowledgeable, when I think that I'm knowledgeable, I'm ignorant. So how about when I'm already ignorant? Am I not ignorant? When I think that I have knowledge and I'm knowledgeable, I'm still ignorant. So how am I not ignorant? How am I not ignorant in my ignorance? My Lord, every time my qualities and my flaws tell me to be quiet, yet when I look at your qualities, I begin to speak. I come to you and I beg for you. Have you seen someone that does bad to you? How many of you have a bad neighbor? If you have a bad neighbor that always has loud music on, that always intrudes, parks on your driveway, just disturbs you all the time, and yet comes and asks for a favor from you. With Allah, this is what we do. We always violate His laws, yet still we have the audacity to come and beg Him and ask Him. إلهي كلما أخرسني لؤمي أنطقني كرمك. Because when we look at the mercy of Allah and the generosity of Allah, we forget our flaws and our bad qualities. وكلما آيستني أوصافي أطمعتني منك. And whenever my qualities put me in despair, yet what gives me hope is your qualities and your favors upon me. And when he set towards Karbala, this is the spirituality of Imam Hussein. His connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he set towards Karbala, he recited his very famous verses of poetry. إلهي تركت الخلق طرا في هواك وأيتمت العيال لكي أراك فلو قطعتني بالحب إربا لما حن الفؤاد إلى سواك. Ar-Rayyan ibn Shabib, one of the companions of Imam al-Rida, he says, دخلت على سيدي ومولاي علي بن موسى الرضا في أول ليلة من المحرم فقال لي يا ابن شبيب إن كنت باكيا لشيء فابكي على جدي الحسين فإنه ذبح كما تذبح الشاة. Ar-Rayyan ibn Shabib says that on the first night of Muharram, I went to my master Ali ibn Musa al-Rida to say my greetings to him. He says, yet he told me, Ibn Shabib, if you were to cry for anything, if you were to shed your tears for anyone, let those tears be for Al-Hussein ibn Ali. Why? Because he was slaughtered the way you slaughter a sheep. Not only him, but 17 of his family members were slaughtered with him. Abu Hamza al-Thumali says, one day I went to Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam, and I saw him crying, weeping. He says, I told him, Yabna Rasulullah, isn't it enough? When will you stop crying? My dear master, when is it that your tears will stop? Sayyidi, al-qatlu lakum aada wa karamatukum min Allah al-shahada. Abu Hamza tells Imam Zayn al-Abidin that, my dear master, you are used to martyrdom. Martyrdom is a tradition in your family. And the blessings of Allah upon you is that He has granted you shahada and martyrdom. He told him, Ya Aba Hamza, don't blame me. Yaqub, the father of Yusuf, cried for 40 years because Yusuf had left him. He cried so much that he went blind, even though Yaqub knew that his son was still alive, yet he cried and cried and cried until he became blind. As for me, Ya Aba Hamza, I saw 71 of my family members and companions slaughtered in front of me. Don't blame me, Ya Aba Hamza. The Imams would hold Majalis. Imam al-Rida would hold Majalis. Imam al-Sadiq would hold a Majlis. Imam Zayn Abidin would hold Majalis. This was a tradition among the Ahlul Bayt. Starting from the first day of Muharram, they would have Majalis like this. And they would have reciters and eulogists come and recite poems and poetry regarding Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Yes, Da'bil ibn al-Khuza'i comes to Imam al-Rida alayhi salam. Imam al-Rida tells him, Ya Da'bil, have you memorized anything? This is the month of Muharram. Da'bil says, yes. Imam says, hold on a second. He puts a curtain between the men and women. He calls the woman, he says, come and listen. Da'bil wants to recite verses of poetry. When Da'bil wanted to recite, he began reciting مدارس آيات قد خلت من تلاوة ومنزل وحي مغفر العرصات. Imam Sadiq says, no. I don't want you to recite like that. I want you to recite the way that you recite in Arab. The way that you recite in Arab, meaning with a voice, with a nice voice. Da'bil began to recite مدارس آيات قد خلت من تلاوة ومنزل وحي مغفر العرصات لآل رسول الله بالخيف من منار وبالبيت والتعريف والجمرات ديار علي والحسين وجعفر وحمزة والسجاد ذي الثفنات يا فاطم لو خلت الحسين مجندلا وقد مات عطشانا بشط فراتي إذا للطمت الخد فاطم عنده وأجريت دمع العين في الوجنات. Imam Hussein alayhi salam goes to the shrine of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. He was about to leave the city of Medina. He goes and he sits on the grave of Rasulullah, saying his last farewell. My dear grandfather, Ya Rasulullah, look at what your nation is doing to me. I must leave this city, I must go. Imam Hussein puts his head on the grave of Rasulullah. He sleeps, he sees a dream of Rasulullah with a group of angels telling him, my dear Hussein, you have a special place in heaven, and the only way to reach that place is through Shahada. Imam Hussein says, Ya Rasulullah, keep me in your grave, bury me in your grave. I don't wish to go back to this life. ضمني عندك يا جداه في هذا الضريح، علني يا جد من بلوى زماني استريح. It's the first night of Muharram. لا بأس. Don't be embarrassed, don't be shy. Let your voices be louder. And if it's okay, turn off some of the lights so that people don't feel embarrassed. ضمني عندك يا جداه في هذا الضريح، علني يا جد من بلوى زماني أستريح. ضاق بي يا جد من رحب الفضاء كل فسيح، فعسى قود الأسى يندك بين الدكتين. جدي صفو العيش بالأكدار شيب، وأشعب الهم راسي قبل إبان المشيب. فعلى من داخل القبر بكاء ونحيب، ونداء بافتجاع يا حبيبي يا، ونداء بافتجاع يا حبيبي. أنت يا ريحانة القلب حقيق بالبلاء، إنما الدنيا أعدت لبلاء النبلاء. لكن الماضي قليل بالذي قد أقبلا، فاتخذ درعا من حزم وعزم سابقا. ستذوق الموت ظلما ظامئا في كربلاء، وستبقى في ثراها ثاويا منجدلا. وكأني بلئيم الأصل شمرا قد علا، صدرك الطاهر ويحز الودجايا. Before leaving Medina, Imam Hussein alayhi salam came to say his last farewell to the women, to the children, to his companions, to his family members. As they were setting to leave Medina, as the caravan was setting to leave, Imam Hussein had a daughter by the name of Fatima. She was known as Fatima al-Alila. Fatima was ill, she was sick, she couldn't leave. Imam Hussein kept her in Medina. He said, you have to remain in Medina. She said, my dear father, you're all going to leave. You, my brothers, my uncles, you're all going to leave and you're going to keep me here? He said, yes, my dear daughter, you're too ill to come with us. She started begging, my dear father, please don't leave me alone. Please don't leave me in this city. Please take me please take me with you. I won't bother you. I won't hurt you. In fact, I will act like a servant for you. Imam Hussein said, no, my dear daughter, I'm afraid that if you come with us, you might die on this journey. Your illness doesn't allow you to come with us. She said, okay, if I stay, then at least keep Abdullah, my brother infant, keep him with me. At least keep a memory of you guys with us. Keep him with me. Imam Hussein said, no. He kept her in Medina and they left. This poet, and I end with these verses of poetry. This poet, he summarizes what Fatima al-Alila was feeling. It's as if she was saying, Ya boya Hussein wa iyaakum akhduni. يا ابويا حسين وياكم اخذوني عقبكم يوم يا اهلي يعمل عيوني وحدي بهالوطن لا تخلوني عليلة والجسم ينظم بالسيف. عليل 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 وعالسهر متعلم عيوني عليل 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 وعالسهر متعلم عيوني ما أدري شجاني وغمت جفوني رحت سارح بطيفي وعالم ظنوني وأحس وجهي تغير وانخطف لوني بس ما غفت العين وانطبقت الجفنين لن شاهدت عيني كان شفت ابويا حسين ويقل لي لا تبكين يا طفلة جانيني حال لسان العليلة ابويا حسين كان شفته حضر يمي او تبدد غيم حزني وزال كل همي والله على صدره يضمني ويلهج باسمي يقول لي ليش دمعك عن وجه يهمي يقول لي ليش دمعك عن وجه يهمي. Shabab, can I please ask you to stand for me, rahmallah alaykum. For my dear father, I in my dream Hussein returns. For my dear father, I in my dream Hussein returns. Oh Father, you left me here. I sit alone with my tears. For my dear father, I in my dream Hussein returns. Oh Father, you I sit alone with my tears. I bid farewell to the night, because now the night I speak and I welcome a lonely sleep. With me only tears on my cheek. My dreams show me a torn body, a way to talk with it I seek, till he tells me I am Hussein, and I sit by him cold and weak. He says, I am your father, I've left your side forever, so all I have are my years. I sit alone with my tears, so all I have are my years. I sit alone with my tears. I tell him you are a stranger, for my father was beautiful. He did not have a torn body by arrows and swords swallowed whole. He answers, I am no stranger, and prove this toward you I shall. How would I know your age and name, the name of Zahra, angel? How would I know your age and name, the name of Zahra, angel? How would I know that you cry only when I left your side? I say you've always been here. I sit alone with my tears. I say you've always been here. I sit alone with my tears. He says, oh child, forgive me. He says, oh child, forgive me. I did not wish for your two eyes to see me broken too, lying alone under the skies. Here lies my body and my head, and over there my infant lies. Here lies my body and my head, and over there my infant lies, and the whole world stares at this sight. I hear all its wails and cries. I died thirsty for water. Arrows wanted your father. I say, let me bring water. I sit alone with my tears. I say, let me bring water. I sit alone with my tears. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله. شيخنا أبو هاني اللهم ادخل على أهل القبور السرور، اللهم اشفي كل مريض، اللهم داوي كل جريح، اللهم اكسو كل عريان، اللهم اشبع كل جائع، اللهم اغني كل فقير، اللهم سد فقرنا بغناك وغير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك، واقض عنا الدين واغننا من الفقر، فانك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك. انا عاطل اللهم كن بوليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا
وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا ومعينا حتى تسكنه
وتطوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ولأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والعلماء والشهداء نقرأ سورة الفاتحة مع الصلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليك أيها الحسن المجتبى، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وأناقت برحلك، عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم سوية. السلام على الحسين
وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين
وعلى حامل لواء الحسين وعلى الحوراء أخت الحسين. السلام على مصابيح الدجى والعروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا سادتي وموالي علي بن الحسين زين العابدين ومحمد بن علي الباقر وجعفر بن محمد الصادق وموسى بن جعفر الكاظم وعلي بن موسى الرضا ومحمد بن علي الجواد وعلي بن محمد الهادي والحسن بن علي العسكري. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا صاحب العصر والزمان، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. الأمان الأمان من فتن آخر الزمان، ورحمة الله وبركاته إلى أمواتنا وأمواتكم، وإلى من مات على الإيمان، وإلى أموات خدمة الحسين عامة، وإلى أموات المؤسسين لهذا المجلس الشريف. اللهم بلغ الجميع ثواب الفاتحة مع الصلوات.
Brothers and sisters, can I just remind you of the noise level when we leave, please. Let's give a good impression to the people outside in the streets. about this gathering by keeping the noise level to the minimum. Also, I would like to remind you that the program will continue tomorrow, inshallah, at the same time. And lastly, I would just like to request a prayer for a sister who has been taken to the hospital